Today, I'm back in the art garden studio. I've managed to escape where we've been snowed in up the top of the hill. And this is just lower down in the town of Shaftesbury, a Saxon hilltop town, and probably the coldest place in Dorset. What I'm going to do is demonstrate wet in wet backwashes of winter colours, and I'm going to try and demonstrate leaving areas of white or lighter shades so it looks like there's just a dusting of snow over a woodland backdrop, and then I'm going to create some orange river trees against those earthy brown shades and leaving little bits of white, with the dusk light just up above. So it's going to be quite challenging, this, and I haven't done an art demonstration for, 2 months. So to me it's all fresh and getting back into it really. So I've got my porcelain plate and I've got my 3 colours. I always stick with quite a discipline of 2 to 3 colours normally. So I'm just going to use this brush and point. So this colour here looks quite different before you actually use the water with it. It looks like a very dark sort of, dark sort of dirty yellow, doesn't it? But it's not, it's gamboge, it's an Indian rich yellow. And it's a beautiful yellow to use. I use this quite a lot. And then this colour here is, let's get this one, because this is a new range that I'm using. It's White Lightning, Russian paints. And this one is called Carmine. It's a very vibrant, sort of pinky red, cherry red, gorgeous colour. And then this colour here is Ultramarine Blue, which I, again, use this quite a lot in winterscapes. So we've got the 3 colours there, and they're all different brands. So you've got Coatman, Winsor & Newton, you've got the Russian paint called White Lightning, and then this paint is called Royal Langnickel. So, you've got a real variety of expensive paint, middle of the range to slightly cheaper. And to be honest, if you mix and match and everything, it really doesn't matter, I don't think, because the art of watercolour is getting, your mixing right, getting your application right. So you can use cheaper paints with more expensive paints, I think. Okay, I'm dying to show you. I have a new brush, which, I really wanted to buy this brush. I bought this online, on Amazon, and it's called the Transon Art and Brush Company. I can't remember if it's Japanese or Chinese, but it's got beautiful wire where it's bound the hairs of a red squirrel. And this is it's just stunning the way it's made. A beautiful brush, and I can't wait to use it, so it's going to be interesting what effect I get with this brush. And then we've got a small bamboo brush. These don't cost very much at all. And then we have a Pro Art Hog's Hair Varnish flat brush, which is really great for doing the washes. I'm going to wet the paper now with my flat hog's hair brush on Bockingford. Bockingford is a lovely type of paper to use. It's not too expensive, but it's good quality paper. It's really good because you can see the quality as I apply the water. And it's really taking the water well because this is a thick, rough textured Bockingford. rough grained or cold pressed. You get 140 in weight or you get 200. And I'm going to apply the first colour. And I'm going to do gradiated washes all the way down. Then I'm going to tip the paper and let all the colours flow together. So you get this gorgeous pale yellow light. So we're going to do quite a lot of different washes, but we're going to keep it very delicate. We'll start doing the muted tones in a minute. Now I'm going to mix some of this gorgeous carmine into the yellow gamboge. A little bit of that in there. There we go. You want sort of pale apricot. Now it always looks really strong on the plate. So always remember to just dilute it as well, which will make it paler. If you want it stronger, then you have to use more paint. Or you don't put so much water in. Always remember that. Okay, so I'm going to do a glaze of this, but just sort of skimming. And again, tipping the paper and letting the pigments work together, feather down. At the moment, it's, with watercolour, it's very important to try and create this translucency and to keep your colours fresh. In this case, obviously, I'm going to create some muted tones against this clear light. And I'm going to add more carmine into that apricot kind of colour that I made. And then some blue, ultramarine. That's how you make your lovely purpley colours. But they'll be earthy purple colours because you have the yellow in there as well. Again, make sure your brush has got lots of paint, but take some of the excess paint off on the side of the plate. That's why I like using plates. Now I'm going to leave the light up above, just a bit of light. I'm going to start gradiating all the way down. So what you've got is a very pale golden light against the lilac tones. It gets a bit wet underneath on your table. Just wipe with an old cloth. Okay, so I'm going to enrich this purple with some yellow. And again, just go over an area, probably there. I'm not tipping the paper upwards yet. I will do in a minute. Just keep watching. So I just put some ultramarine into the colour. So I mix into the same colour all the time. That's my discipline, really, is to do that. Just put that down there. And I keep doing a repetitive motion with my flat brush. I'm going to now tip this way. Just watch. It's all soft and muted. Don't worry about the sides, it does that. We're just focusing on the middle and we're letting it all feather up. Right, have a look. Workspace clean. It's very important. Okay, so then you can really focus on what you're doing. So at the moment we've got a development of this, well, it started off as a lavender sort of colour, but now it's almost gone pinky, hasn't it? That carmine is quite strong. And then I put the earthy tones over the top. Well, obviously I'm going to enrich that even more. And then the last thing I'm going to do at the end is obviously create my river trees, these amazing orange river trees that I saw at a place called Pimpern, and it wasn't far actually from the River Stour. And it had this beautiful backdrop of woodland with this gorgeous pale sort of golden light, and there was a little bit of snow left on the trees. Now I'm not going to worry if I'm not going to create snow today. I just want to create those colours that I saw, that warmth. So let's try and get this brown a bit more kind of, almost like we're going into a grey. Gets even more muted, and I'm going to run that along the bottom of the woodland. But I don't want all of woodland, I want this to be like a field area in front of the woodland backdrop. Okay. So I do that quite a few times and then I tip. It's quite interesting. A lot of the strength of the colour is always at the sides. Yeah, so what it's doing is every pigment that I put on is overlaying the initial first colours. And it's what I just love observing that. It's very meditative. It's very soothing and relaxing painting like this. And it's a very organic way as well. And now I put a bit more carmine into there. You've got to keep adding colours and you don't want to run out. And that's quite strong, so I might just put a little bit of yellow in to get these earthy, muted tones. It's amazing how many times you have to apply to get this strength, to get this depth of colour. But what's interesting is observing the other way up as well. Sometimes I do this, sort of coil it right round. It's all a beautiful tonal balance, as you can see, when you work like this. You're not complicating it. Sometimes, yes, you can just leave it to develop like that. But I want to keep some of this light up above. It's important just to keep with these three colours and keep coming up with different shades. And I've gone for a stronger chocolatey brown now. See what happens there. Can you see? This is what I'm fascinated by, is the strength. and the way it cascades down. I'm going to have a go at just using this brush a minute, which I've not used before. I'm going to spike it out. You see that? You can do so much with these brushes. Just going to do that. I'm just lifting and pressing, just to create dusting of snow. I will do another overlay in a minute. I just want to get a special effect, just with my brush. This is really good for doing frost as well. And let's go back and put another layer of colour on. I do that quite a few times. Again and again. And again, it is very experimental. It's fun, as well as relaxing. You never know what effect you're really going to get. You've just got to try out all your different brushes if you need to. And you've got to remember all these different techniques and use them all in one painting. So what's happening? It's bleeding, and you end up getting this crumpling effect. Wonderful. I think I might just let that do that a bit more. What happens is then you get these shapes, like these tree shapes, these natural tree shapes. There. Right, now apply again. Just keep applying a bit more. Put a little bit of that in there. Just keep observing. Keep applying. It's very repetitive, this approach. So it's a really good way of practicing watercolour in this way, because you just can't forget. I love what's happening here, because some of that ultramarine blue, it's a bit of like, what do you call it, that teal colour slightly, like a greeny brown is coming through. Okay, so we've got these shapes. I want to slightly make them thicker. I can always see what happens if I move it that way slightly. So they look like they're moving. So now I'm making my orange. Like a burnt orange, these river trees were, against just all these thorny, muted, earthy tones in the woodland. But again, I'm not going to draw these river trees. I'm just going to drop some, I'm going to see what happens here. This is experimental again. I think I remember just 2 of them. So, but I don't want to run it all the way along. I'm just going to place a little bit there maybe. I need to make it a bit wetter. There. Let's just see what happens. It might go terribly wrong, but you've got to try these things. You know, there's a lot of colour, a lot of paint there, so let's just move that over slightly. It's just fascinating. mean, putting that colour over those muted tones, I just, yeah, that makes it really interesting. I'm actually going to run it all the way along. I just want to do that now, so it all connects. Sometimes I have a plan, and when you work like this, it comes out totally different to what you envisage. Let's just do that. Oops. Got all these sculptural shapes, which is what you get in the woodland. I like what's happening there. I think I want more of it. Oh, look. The tip. Interesting what's happened there now. Bring that back down. Getting some very unusual shapes. Sometimes it's just nice just to see, just let that sort of develop. Just going to wipe this area. If you don't like that bit, I'm just going to nudge that over just slightly. There. Now I'm going to go dark again. Ultramarine. And mixing it back in. And that's interesting, that colour that's formed there. I'm just adding the ultramarine. So really it's all about this bit here. It's the main focus. So that was a dry, not a dry brush, obviously the brush is wet, but the paper is dry. So that's how you get a totally different effect. Leaving bits of snow, just a little bit of snow. And then I will just leave that to develop. I don't really want to move that now. I think I'm just going to leave that. I could slightly tip that, just slightly, one more time. Okay, there. Like that bit there. And if you don't like, there's a certain shape you don't like, you just use your finger just to move it. There. There you go. Right. And there you go, you've got this organic, sculptural woodland scene with a little bit of dusting of snow on the ploughed fields. And I haven't stylised anything, I haven't drawn the orange trees. I just wanted, when I started applying that orange river tree colour, I just wanted to put it all the way across as a design, just to see what it looks like against these mossy browns that have formed. Yeah. So it's still developing, but hopefully it will have the strength here and I won't have to go over it again. Because when I work like this, I really don't want to have to go back to it and wet it. I want it to be spontaneous and to be natural and not to fiddle with it too much. So there you go. A sculptural woodland in winter with a dusting of snow in the dusk light.